give you an idea about the items that I'm going to be discussing and the ways to be able to get documents into SAFE is drag and drop, using the option of send to SAFE, import within SAFE, how to be able to create a new document within SAFE, print to SAFE, and also going to discuss scanning, more specific batch. It'll be very high level regarding batch, and I'll discuss that a little bit more when we get to that option. Whenever we go to web, we're going to show you how to be able to import a document into SAFE Web, be able to create a new document, and also how to be able to scan in a document as well. All right. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and swap over to SAFE. I'm going to minimize this. Okay. Now, I've logged into SAFE. I've accessed my cabinet active personnel, and I'm going to go ahead and double-click on Herald Banks. Okay. One of the things I do want to show you is how to be able to bring an email into this via a drag and drop. I'm going to go through, and I have an email from Herald. It's regarding an insurance question. I'm going to hold down the left button on my mouse, and I'm merely going to drag it over to SAFE. If you notice, the icon does change, and now you see the white icon and the plus sign. Whenever I release the mouse, we're going to have a file window open up. Okay? I'm going to minimize this. Now, a few things within the filer I want to take a look at, and this is automatically because I was in the Herald Banks folder. That is the folder it's automatically going to import the document into. I do want to double check the tab. So this is actually communication. So I'm going to click on the down arrow, select communication, and then I'm going to actually go through and select a different template. When I select the template, it's going to change the options that are being populated. For my template, I do have it automatically set to pull certain values from my folder index. So now it saves me time from having to manually type in information. As you're looking at the screen, if you notice, communication regarding and follow-up required are in red. That means that those are required fields. As I went through and set this up, I actually have a pick list. If I click on the down arrow, I have several different options. I'm going to select insurance, and then I have an option here involving follow-up. So I'm going to tell it yes, follow-up in 30 days. Okay. One option, because I do have this specified for follow-up, I can go through and I can tell it schedule an item. Now I'm going to go through and click File. As I bring this up, it's going to bring up automatically where I can go through and I can file this document. It's actually schedule this document. I'm going to click on the down arrow, select my due date, which is automatically going to be March 13th. I'm going to add notes for information saying please confirm elections. Okay. Let's go over actually to assign, click add, and I'm going to select John. I go to the notification tab, and this is a very useful area. I can go through and I can add an item to John's calendar and also send him an email as well. I have these two options selected. I have my start time and everything, and it will appear as a standard meeting and reminder within his Outlook. Click Save. Okay. Now, whenever I go over, this is, and I'm looking at everything, here's my email. If I double-click and open the email, I'll be able to see any communication. If there's any attachments to this, I will also be able to see that as well. Okay. Another option that you can use is a send to SAFE. Whenever you're working on your computer and you have multiple folders that are open, sometimes if you're going to do a drag and drop, it's easier whenever you're actually within the folder itself. So for instance, I have a folder and I have this PDF file. I want to go ahead and I want to file it to save. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to send to SAFE. What's going to happen is whenever that opens, same thing that we've seen before, it's going to bring up the filer window. Okay. For my tab, I can go through, select communications. I can select any of my information here. Okay? So again, it's automatically going to populate Harold Banks. It's going to populate the date. And because of the template that I utilized, it has this information here involving insurance plan. If I choose to, I can go ahead and add free-form text. And as you note, it puts it in the document title. Now, the last document I did go through and file, I had it set to schedule. I do not want to schedule this item, so I'm going to remove the check mark, and I'm going to tell it file only. Okay. Now, whenever I go back into this, I can go through and I can refresh my screen. And now I see my PDF file that I imported in and I sent from my Windows Explorer. Another option that you have as well, if you go to Tools, click on the down arrow, and you have the drop-down Import. Left-click on it, and you can now browse to the folder. And I'm actually going to go through, and I'm going to select a TIFF file. Again, same as before, we've seen this filer window many times over. So again, you always want to double-check the tab that you're saving it to. So again, I'm just going to go back to Communications. Whenever I select my Communications, I'm now going to select my template. Okay. All right. Again, we have our information, Harold Banks. If I need to, I can go through and I can change this date as well. So I'm going to change this to the 11th, and I'm just going to add text in R, and I'm going to tell it to file only. Okay. As it goes through and it files, now I can see this TIFF. It's useful whenever you're looking at a large file like this and multi-page. You can use the arrows to advance and to view the information. Okay. Another option that you have as well is you have the button that says New. When you click on New, you have document specifications that come open. Now, because I was on the All tab, it's going to automatically come up. It's going to ask me what tab I want to select and have this document go to. I want to select Application. And because this is a word merge, it's automatically going to pull fields from my folder index. So it's pulling Harold Banks, his job title, and also my initials because I'm the one who is creating this file. As I click OK, what's going to happen in a moment is Word is going to open. It's going to automatically populate any information. If I choose to, I can add additional text. So again, if I need to change the date on this to the 11th, I can do this as well. I'm going to click on the X, close, tell it to save the file. And now this document is automatically created from the template, pulls the information from the folder index. It is now filed into SAFE. It saves you having to go through multiple steps, copy, edit, import in. Okay? Another option that we have available is being able to print to. I'm going to open up an expense report that I have within Excel. Right. As this opens, I'm going to go through and add additional numbers and information in for my expense report. Okay. Now, I'm going to go up to File, Print. Okay. And I automatically have my Cabinet Safe printer set as my default. I do have a preview over here, the same way that I would if I was printing to a network printer or local printer. If you click on Printer Properties, this is where you have options involving changing your orientation, if it's portrait, landscape, or if you automatically want to rotate any landscape image to a portrait. You can also make changes to your resolution. This is going to be important if you're printing in a very large file and you are a cloud customer and you utilize space. You may not necessarily want to put a document out at a 600 by 600 DPI. So we can drop this down to a lower resolution, click OK, and then click Print. It's going to go through and it's going to bring up, again, the filer that we've seen every time that we've gone into this. Okay? Now, because this is an expense report, I do want to change and do not want to have it on the Communications tab. I want to select Expense Report. Whenever I do this, I also want to go through and select my template. Okay. So, the same that we have done before, it automatically populates Harold Banks. I have the date, and then I have the date the expense report is submitted. So maybe I want to go through and I actually want to say that the report was submitted on the 10th. Okay. If you look, again, the red is required text, and all the information is here, and this is the document that's going to be filed. Okay. Now, I may want to go through and also route this, so I can go ahead and put this into workflow. Okay. I'm going to send it to John, and I'm going to add the note to please review and process. Click Send. And now as I go through and refresh, I now see the TIFF file, that's the expense report. Okay. Now, I want to go in and show you a few things involving batch. Batch is used primarily whenever you go through and you do scanning. But sometimes locations and some of our clients have a multifunction device that's on the network. And sometimes you go through and you actually have a stack of documents and you scan it either as a multi-page TIFF or a PDF. Batch can do several different things to allow you to be able to pull in specific pages out of a multi-page document. Same as before, I want to double check my folder that I'm going to Harold Banks. I do want to double check and make sure my tab that I'm going to, and also go ahead and select my template. Okay. Now I'm going to go up to File and Open. And on my desktop I have a PDF file. Okay. I can go through and I can click any of these documents and view any of these. Now, let's say out of this document, I want to actually go through and I want to just go and file document page 1, 2, and 3. Now, you can hold down your Control key and select each of the individual files, or you can also click on select the top document, hold down your Shift key, click on the bottom document, and it will go ahead and it will select all of the files in between. I do see here where I have each of the individual documents selected. I can move a document up and down. Now what I can also do is now I can go ahead and I can tell it to file the document. Now in the bottom corner you'll see status, so where it's merging the files, and then whenever it goes through and it files the document to save. Now if you notice, the pages that I have selected are now gone. Now if I choose to, I can select these 3 documents, and maybe I want to file these actually over to expense report. Okay. I'm going to select a blank PDF. Okay. And now I can add free text to this information. And file document. Okay. Same as before, each of those files are now gone from this area. If I need to exit out of SAFE, go to a meeting or anything like that, these pages will remain in batch until I go through and delete them or file them. Now, this is just a very high-level view of batch. We do have training sessions that specifically discuss batch and scanning. And you can go to the cabinetpaperless.com site and you can register for those training sessions. Okay. Now, we've covered what we're going to discuss within SAFE, and now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to go into our web interface. Okay. Well, that is if I happen to put the password in correctly, or the code. me close this and let me go back into all right. Now, I'm logged in to, this is the web interface for Cabinet. Same as before, we can see all of the documents that I did file in previously. Okay, a couple of options we want to go through is actually do, same as before, we're going to import. So we're going to go up to the tab that says import. We're going to have a screen that comes open. It's going to walk us through each of the individual steps. Okay, so I do want to confirm my location of where I'm filing this document to. So active personnel, Harold Banks. If I choose to, I can click on the down arrow and select another folder. Click on Browse. I'm going to select my file. I'm going to click Upload. Okay. If you notice, there is a maximum file size limit of 300 megabytes, so just something to keep in mind as you may go through and select. Okay. I'm going to go through and just select my template. And next. Whenever I do this, it automatically populates the specifications as to the tab. So again, do I want to have this on application or do I want to have this on communication or anything to that effect? Okay. Go ahead and select next. Okay. And then we're going to have the information automatically populates again, Harold Banks' name, the date, and then the information here. So I'm going to put in our 6 and go ahead and tell it file now. Okay. Now, as you can see, it did go ahead and file the file this TIFF file. And now we can see a preview over to this screen. Okay. Also, we can go up to New and Document. As always, I want to remind you to double check where you're actually creating this new file at. We want to go through and we're going to select the offer letter again. Okay. Populates all the information the same as before. Want to select next. Again, it's going to do Harold Banks, accountant. It's going to show JC because I'm actually logged into the web interface as John. Click File now. Okay. Now, because this is a word merge, it would have asked me if I want to check this document out for editing. That way I can add any additional free-form text. I'm actually going to tell it close. And now I have the offer letter. Okay. Whenever I click on it, here's my preview of the document where I can be able to make any changes if I need to. All right. The last thing we want to talk about is being able to scan within web. Whenever you're in your folder, go ahead and click on Scan. Move this up a little bit. Okay. So I am going to go ahead, Active Personnel, Harold Banks. I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to select blank. Okay. I'm going to tell it to scan. Okay. I'm going to click OK to this message. Okay. I'm going to tell it what my options are whenever I go through to scan this in. Now, color picture, again, if you're scanning anything that's color, the file size can be larger. I'm going to tell it black and white picture or text. I'm going to go ahead, also select any options that I choose to for anything involving paper size. I'm going to go ahead and select letter and tell it scan. Now what's going to happen is that it's going to go ahead and pull any of my documents in via my scanner. So you're going to see the first page. And actually they're going to go ahead and now see the second page. Okay? If I want to, I can go through and edit the page. If I want to, I can delete the page. I'm going to click Next to go to the second screen. Okay. Again, because the options that I selected, it went to automatically select my tab. If I choose to, I can select a different tab. Okay, I'm going to click Next. Oh, let me go through because I selected a blank. Well, go ahead and tell it my document name. I'm going to tell it File now. So now, here's our PDF. Here are the 2 pages that I scanned in. So again, if you have someone who is working remotely and they need to be able to scan documents into SAFE and into Web, they can do this directly from the web interface as well. Okay? So we've discussed how to be able to bring documents into the SAFE client via drag and drop, how to be able to utilize Send to SAFE, import, create new within SAFE, print to SAFE, how to be able to take a multi-page PDF into batch, send specific pages to specific tabs. We discussed on web how to be able to import a document, how to be able to create a new document, and how to be able to also scan a document. Okay?
There are additional resources that are available to you via our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/cabinetpaperless. Also our support and training website at cabinetpaperless.com/support, where you can access any of our support articles as well as sign up for any training sessions, as those are available on a monthly basis. For information regarding Cabinet, please visit us at www.cabinetpaperless.com. You can email us at info@cabinetpaperless.com or call us at 800-621-6501. Thank you for attending our Learning Series webinar on how to get files into SAFE.